This combination, we're using a brand new introduction for 2025. This is the Emerald Isle Alocasia. So Emerald Isle Alocasia is known for its compact habit, only 3 to 4 foot tall and about 3 foot wide. It has excellent branching and lots of branching. So meaning this is going to be a nice full alocasia with lots of beautiful, really large leaves. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and I'm so excited to show you this new planter we're planting up today and all the beautiful colors that we'll be using. When I like to plant a planter, we like to kind of go along the lines of a thriller, some spillers, and then some fillers. So this Alocasia Emerald Isle is going to be an excellent thriller in this combination. Really thick leaf substance, like sun or shade. I don't even remember if I said that, but sun or shade. So very versatile when you're putting together your combinations. In addition to the Emerald Isle, which is going to be the thriller, we have a brand new petunia for 2025. This here is part of the Tierra series, which is a new series for proven winners. This is Supertunia Tierra Blue. Beautiful dark purple outer edges with that beautiful white center in the middle. I love these bicolor blooms, and we're going to pair it with another favorite bicolor bloom. This here is the Superbell's Coral Sun. Look at that beautiful coral edge with that bright yellow center. I think that the purple and this coral yellow combination is going to look fabulous together. So we're going to go ahead and let Rod get his hands dirty and plant this baby up. So these alocasias have a wonderful root system on them. Look at all the, well, he just went away. Look at all those roots. Very, very substantial plant. And one thing with alocasia is the bigger the pot you let it grow in, the bigger or the more substance the plant will have. So if you keep it in a smaller container, it'll stay a little bit smaller. Where if you give it a big container where it can just let its roots go, it's going to get a nice size for you. So we are planting this in an aqua pot today. An aqua pot is a self-watering planter. By self-watering, I mean you have to fill it with water, but it'll continue to water and feed these plants throughout the week while the water is still in the reservoir. With the aqua pots, we recommend refilling them about every 5 to 7 days to keep your plants nice and hydrated. So he's going to do kind of an every other pattern here in this aqua pot with the Tierra Blue and the Coral Sun, and I think that's going to be really a bright splash of color in our front landscape. We're trying to mix it up a little bit. We're using a lot of purples for the front of the landscape, but adding in various other colors like yellows and kind of these corally oranges to create just a beautiful color pattern that continues through the whole front of the house. So when we plant these, we are planting these really tight and really full. So because we get such a late start on planting our baskets and we really want fast, instant gratification, we plant these things really full. So we're planting them pot tight in this container. That's not necessarily something that you would have to do, but because we want color quick, this is how we do it. So there are, I believe, 8 plants, 4 of each variety that are going into this planter. If you were planting this at home, maybe you would only do 4 plants, half as many. It's really up to you how fast you want to let your containers fill out. One thing to keeping these petunias and superbells looking fabulous all summer long is the fact that they are getting watered regularly and also fed regularly. So when we fill this aqua pot with water, we're going to also fill it with water-soluble fertilizer. That way these plants can continue to be fed throughout the summer. So every time we fill it with water, we're also replacing that fertilizer, because as the plant is taking up that fertilizer water, it's being fed, and we want to make sure that we're getting that replenished so that it continually has food and drink. Really excited to see how this alocasia does. We got some in last year that we were doing trials on, and they did beautifully. We got them pretty late in the season though, so we never had the opportunity to get them put into our planters. So this is the first time we'll actually be using it in a real life like combination scenario. So we're excited to see how big this gets and how well these leaves hold up in the sun. This is going to be in a full sun location, and we'll be sure to show you the updates along and through the summer as this plant continues to fill out and grow. So the combination we'll be planting up next is an annual combination for up at the Northern Michigan garden. Rod was hanging out in the greenhouse today finding some of his favorite plants. So let's take a look at what he put together. The first plant he has here is the Kufia vermillionaire, which is a great plant for attracting hummingbirds. And we know we have a lot of hummingbirds up at the garden. It's up north, and so that's going to be kind of an upright thriller in this combination. I think he's going to put it towards the back because it has a lot of color, but it doesn't in a way, but enough color that the hummingbirds find it and love it. So he's going to tuck that right kind of in the back, and what that plant's going to do is it's going to fill out and kind of create a little bit of a background there behind the palm tree. So we are using a palm tree for our thriller because we love that tropical feel and that tropical look. So even though we can't grow palm trees year-round here in Michigan, we can certainly use them in our summer planters. Next, he's got the Coleus velveteen, which is a great coleus for its foliage color. So velveteen is also going to go towards the back of this planter, and it's going to be more of a thriller and a filler. Velveteen's got beautiful burgundy foliage with a little bit of that magenta or hot pink coloration. So that's just going to really give the back of this planter a little bit of color, not so much in the flower form, but more just from its foliage. We're also planting into self-watering pots here. These are the Crescent self-watering planters. These are not ceramic. These are more of a plastic type material, a little bit more lightweight than the aqua pots, and just easier for us to transport up north from the greenhouse. The next two plants Rod really likes are Sun Patience. This is a Sun Patient white, and we like to use white in our planters because white always is just, it adds kind of that special glow and a special bit of color, especially when the sun starts going down. Plus white is a great versatile color that matches any flower color that you pair with it. So Sun Patients are a form of impatient, but they like to be grown in, as the name implies, sun. So if you were to plant Sun Patients right in the ground, they can get about 18 to 24 inches tall. I don't anticipate they'll get that tall in this planter, but it's going to be another nice upright mounding plant that he's putting kind of on the sides and towards the back in this combination. Next, what you got next there, Rod? All right, he's got a Bossa Nova begonia. So this is the Bossa Nova pure white begonia, kind of a nice dangling feel. So it's an upright plant, but then the flowers, they kind of just will dangle over forward and just kind of blow in the breeze. So it's also fun when you're planting to add some elements in that when the wind blows, it adds a little motion, which obviously this palm tree is adding a lot of motion to this container. But those begonias too, just this little breeze going on is kind of giving them a little bit of motion as well. Now we're going to add in more color into this planter, and the plants he's using are the Superbell's Prism Pink Lemonade. So let's take it closer here. Actually, Superbell's Magic Pink Lemonade, the name changed. So Pink Lemonade is a really cool Superbell because you're getting shades of pink, shades of yellow, and even a little bit of orange shades in it as well. It's kind of a bi or tri-colored looking flower. Superbells are a little bit smaller flower than petunias. Typically, Superbells are best suited for being planted in containers opposed to being planted in the ground. They don't typically like to be wet. So you may be asking, well, Heidi, you're planting this in a self-watering planter. These plants are gonna, be staying wet. When we make sure that we don't overwater them, so they're gonna have just the right amount of moisture to keep them looking great all summer. Back to some foliage color, we've got the Color Blaze Mini Me Chartreuse. This is a new variety for 2025. It's a coleus, so we'll see how big it gets here in the front of the planter. But one thing that's really pretty is look at that color. That contrast of color is looking fabulous with that pink lemonade. We're very symmetrical in our planting, as I'm sure you've learned by now. Everything has to be equal and balanced. And right up front, Rod chose the Supertunia Mini Vista Ultramarine, which is a beautiful, deep, dark purple. And that is going to look fabulous as well with that chartreuse of the coleus and the pink a really nice combination. So the colors he was going for in this planter was the purples, the pinks, the whites, and then also drawing in a little bit of foliage color. And as you'll notice with those Bossa Nova whites, there's just a little hint of orange on them, and that will be brought out with that Kufia vermillionaire that's planted in the back. Again, we'll be sure to update you on these planters as the summer goes on, so you can watch and see how they continue to fill out and flower up. We do know when we plant these planters that what they look like today, they're going to look vastly different midsummer and then even late summer. So it's really fun to kind of watch these containers transform throughout the seasons. Even though we're seeing every plant in it at this point, there will come a point in the season where we might start losing a plant here or there. And that's something that we're perfectly fine with, because every basket, every container has its stage of what it's looking for throughout the season. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi, and Rod doing the dirty work from Garden Crossings.